Hello and welcome to the show. On the program tonight, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders trade their cleats for skates. And a new Border City initiative takes a day to publicly stand up against bullies. But first, thoughts from Ottawa on the region, the future of Canadian agriculture, and the possibility of a spring election. Gerry Ritz takes the chair right now on Around the Region. Later in the show, it was a slippery hockey game. Saskatchewan's best football players pulled together to raise money for Unity Minor Hockey. Welcome to the show. Here in studio with me now is Gerry Ritz, MP for Battleford's-LLOYDMINSTER. Thanks so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure, Whitney.
So you are headed to Europe this week to talk about some free trade agreements. Tell me a little bit about what is going to be the basis of the conversations there.
Well, there's a couple of large gatherings of agricultural ministers from around the world in Germany this week coming up. I'll be taking our arguments on low-level presence. You know, we had a situation a year ago with triffid and flax. We're starting to gain some traction with that around the world. That zero is no longer zero with the efficacy of testing and so on that's out there. So we need to move away from that. Canada itself sits at zero tolerance, and you know, we need to move to a half or one percentage point. There's so much interoperability of freight now that a container that hauls Canadian flax could have also hauled Brazilian sugarcane, which is GM'd, and so on. So there's a lot of that cross-contamination potential. So we need to talk about getting away from zero.
Now, I know that there was a lot of stuff in the news, too, about just grades of beef being sent over as well, and just the differences there. Is that something you're going to...
Well, we haven't had access to Europe for almost 2 decades, or over 2 decades now. We do have that again on hormone-free beef. There is a very significant set of rules that they put in play. We're able to meet those. We have 2 different facilities that will now process that beef and move it into that European market. There's a growing demand for red meat around the world, and Europe is no exception. So it's great to get back into that marketplace.
Now, after Europe, you're going back into session
Yes.
on the 31st. What are some things that you're looking forward to tabling?
Well, I think the biggest thing as a government is to continue moving forward on the economy. As you know, we went through a recession like everybody else around the world. We didn't cause it, but we were affected by it because of our major trading allies like the United States and the European Union, for that matter. Of course, they all hit harder than we did. Having said that, our recovery is still fragile. We have to keep doing what we're doing, cutting taxes, making sure that Canadians, both consumers and businesses, have access to more of their own money so they can continue to grow the economy. It's worked out very, very well. We've actually done better than a lot of other countries. They look at us with some envy. Having said that, it's time to stay the course. It's time to keep creating jobs, which we've done. We've gained back everything we lost during the recession, plus some more. And as you know, looking around town here, there's help wanted signs everywhere, which is great. It's good news. So if we keep cutting taxes and making sure the regulatory burdens aren't too cumbersome on business, they'll continue to hire people and grow the economy.
On the note of economy too, the Canadian dollar is very, very high right now.
$1.
Which is good for people traveling, but is it not so good for imports and exports?
Well, there's a trade-off. Certainly, as compared to the American dollar, yes, we're going up, but then so is everybody else.
Right.
So when we trade with China or Japan or the European Union or Mexico and some of the South American countries, of course, our strong dollar doesn't hurt us the same as it does when we're going straight into the U.S. That's part of the problem that we faced, was having too many eggs in that American basket. We need to do a lot more secondary processing here and then get out into those marketplaces around the world. We've had some tremendous success with the trips that we've undertaken with industry along, getting into the Pacific Rim, opening and reestablishing our footprint in that marketplace.
Excellent. We're going to talk more about the economy just after this break.
Sure.